And who is that?
Terence Crawford, that's it. You know, I'm 41-0 for a reason. You gotta have 4 arms.
I know. I know.
And 6 eyes.
Our job is to line it up. And us fighters, we're warriors. We always want to fight the best.
That's where Max Kellerman stepped in with his own perspective. Known as one of the sharpest voices in boxing media, Kellerman offered a compelling take, suggesting that, depending on how you view legacy, Crawford might actually have the stronger case over Mayweather. Kellerman explained that while Floyd's resume is packed with big names, much of that came with carefully chosen timing, especially after he moved up from lightweight. Floyd picked and chose when he fought certain guys, he said. And because of that, people remember that he avoided some opponents at key moments. Crawford, on the other hand, Kellerman pointed out, always wanted to fight everyone, the entire time, even if his resume isn't as stacked. That kind of mentality matters to a lot of fans, Kellerman argued, and it's what sets Crawford apart in the legacy conversation.
Me versus anybody, I'm gonna always say me.
Okay.
Come on now.
And that's where the real debate lies, resume versus intent. Mayweather's record is packed with elite names: De La Hoya, Pacquiao, Cotto, Hatton, Marquez, Mosley, Gatti, Corrales, and more. But critics like Ryan Garcia and Max Kellerman argue that the timing of those fights dulls their impact. Pacquiao, they point out, was already older and slowed down by the time they fought in 2015. Mosley was 38 and coming off a long layoff. Cotto had endured serious punishment by then. And Canelo, just 23 at the time, was forced into a catchweight. Yes, Floyd won all of those fights, but for his critics, there's always an asterisk. The wins are real, but the questions about timing never quite go away.
You think wins in a fight, you or Prime Floyd?
Me?
No questions?
Why would you think that I would say Floyd? You know, that's one of my favorite fighters. But yeah, nah.
On the flip side, Crawford's resume may not be as deep, but the spirit behind it tells a different story. He never cared about perfect timing. He fought Sean Porter when Porter was still a dangerous challenge for anyone. At 35, he dismantled Errol Spence. And most recently, he shocked the boxing world by beating Canelo Alvarez at super middleweight. Crawford's issue was never about avoiding big fights, it was that promoters and networks avoided him. Seen as a high-risk, low-reward fighter during his time with Top Rank, Crawford spent years chasing the marquee matchups that simply never came. By the time he finally secured the Spence fight, he was already well into his 30s.
I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose because now society has shaped things to where if a fighter lose, they talk so bad about, oh, he's a bum. I knew he was overrated. Oh, y'all hyped him up, and now they gotta hear it. But back in the day, they didn't have social media. You know what I mean? So all that wasn't in their face.
Now at 38, Crawford stands undefeated at 42-0, with undisputed titles in 3 different weight divisions and a resume that includes names like Gamboa, Postal, Jeff Horn, Porter, Spence, and Alvarez. Still, when stacked against Mayweather's 50-0 record, the numbers lean in Floyd's favor. 8 fewer wins might not seem like much, but in the legacy debate, every number matters. However, Crawford holds one card Mayweather never played, a move into a 6th weight class. If he drops down to middleweight and captures a title there, he'll have achieved something Floyd never even attempted. Mayweather stopped at 154, and while he made history in that range, he never chased a 6th division. Crawford's willingness to keep chasing bigger and riskier challenges might be the very factor that changes the shape of the legacy conversation.
Bud is the second coming of Mayweather. Y'all got the game fucked up. Mayweather actually didn't get hit. Bud gets hit by dudes that, like, who on Bud's resume is an equivalent of someone on Floyd's resume? So that's it right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, Floyd not getting hit by elites, Bud getting hit by non-elites, and somehow y'all think Canelo not about to touch him.
The timing of their careers adds another layer to the conversation. Crawford won his first world title in 2014, just 1 year before Mayweather defeated Pacquiao and then Andre Berto to close out his legendary run. There was only a brief overlap, but it did exist. If Mayweather had stayed in the game a little longer, the fight might have been possible. But by that point, Floyd was already shifting into legacy defense mode, not looking to take new risks. And that's essentially what he was saying on Stephen A. Smith's show, Don't Ask Me Now. If that fight was ever going to happen, It would have been when the money was at its peak and the global interest was red-hot. That moment is gone, and so are the what-ifs. No matter what Crawford achieves today, it doesn't pull Mayweather back into the ring.
Floyd versus Triple G. Listen, man, Floyd didn't fight him, and Floyd is an all-time great. But what a missed opportunity. You got Crawford going from 135 and talking about fighting Canelo at 168.
Still, that doesn't stop fans from imagining how a head-to-head clash might have played out. At 147 pounds, Mayweather was a defensive genius, nearly impossible to hit clean, with a methodical ability to break opponents down round by round. From age 28 to 38, he went 12-0 at welterweight, effectively ruling the division for a full decade. Crawford at 147 was a different beast. More explosive, a natural switch hitter with finishing power and a visible mean streak. He went 8-0 over 5 years, and most of those wins came by brutal stoppage. He's also taller, has a longer reach, and brings more versatility in both stance and style.
Floyd career, like him coming up in the era that he came up in, he had all them champions that he was able to fight. And that's what led him to be so great, you know, because he fought the most champions, beat the most champions, you know, got the most money for beating the most champions. So it's just like, man, he had this guy.
In a hypothetical matchup, Crawford's size and aggression would have challenged Mayweather's legendary defense like few others ever could. Some fans liken it to how Paul Williams, a tall, high-volume welterweight, was seen as a tough nightmare matchup for Floyd, which partly explains why that fight never happened. Now add Crawford's adaptability and southpaw power into the mix, and it's easy to see why many believe Floyd might have finally been pushed to sweat to keep his undefeated record intact.
You know, we knew Crawford is a great fighter, and I did what I supposed to do, right? I tried for every way, and I trained really hard, and he deserved all the credit. No, I try my best tonight, and I just cannot figure out the style.
Was it something specific, the movement, or?
But Mayweather's supporters argue that his style was perfectly designed to neutralize aggression. He wasn't just fast and slick, he was incredibly efficient. He didn't need to throw 70 punches around. He just needed to land the right 25 and make you miss 50. Against Crawford, who thrives on switching momentum mid-fight, Floyd might have found ways to frustrate him just like he did with Canelo in 2013 or shut down Ricky Hatton's pressure back in 2007. There's also the question of controlling the stage. Floyd was the pay-per-view king, the fighter who could command entire weekends with just one bout. Crawford never reached that level of influence, even after beating Spence and Canelo. Floyd's dominance wasn't just about skill, it was also about the power to dictate when, where, and how fights took place. Crawford, despite his greatness, has never had that kind of leverage. But if this fight ever does happen, who do you think would come out on top? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates.
Floyd had a lot of craft that mimicked some of the things that Sugar Ray did. So does Terence. And Terence is psychologically a latter-day Sugar Ray Robinson. He has the same kind of capacity to be charming, and then in the next 30 seconds to turn on his fire. And that, I think, is part of what he's going to take into the ring against Canelo.
Floyd Mayweather has sent a warning to Terence Crawford amid heated debates about who would win in a potential matchup. Mayweather made it clear that his message is a warning, cautioning Crawford against chasing something that may never happen. He suggested that Crawford might be chasing a ghost, because the version of Mayweather who ruled the sport retired on his own terms, and he has no intention of letting anyone rewrite that legacy.
This Terence has been the only other guy that people can say he always figures it out. You know?
Yeah, that's true. But you gotta have an OG somewhere.
Anybody else? Yeah.
There's an OG
Somebody
somewhere.
gotta pioneer, right? Yeah, you gotta.
There's an OG you can't out-figure out somewhere. And I just believe Floyd is that OG you can't out-figure.
Floyd told Smith that boxing isn't just about who's stronger right now. It's about who owned the spotlight when it truly mattered. In Floyd's eyes, Crawford asking for this fight now, in his mid-30s, is simply too late. He believes the matchup should have happened years ago, when it had the potential to generate massive attention and numbers.
You know, Crawford wasn't running from him. He was, he was very confident that he could stand there and trade, a lot of times with Canelo.
Crawford fought a brilliant fight. He fought a brilliant fight. He stayed at the right range. He didn't engage with Canelo when Canelo was trying to get him to engage with him. And he took control of the fight. He did what he wanted to do.
That message came during a heated exchange on Stephen A. Smith's platform, where Mayweather and Crawford sat face-to-face in a rare and intense back-and-forth that immediately caught the boxing world's attention. Mayweather remained calm, but his words carried serious weight. He essentially told Crawford, "You can win as much as you want. You can even beat the fighters I never faced, but you're not rewriting my legacy." With that statement, Floyd not only kept the spotlight firmly on his own era, but also subtly jabbed at Crawford for showing up too late to share the ring with him.
So strong. That's what I said. Why are you talking about 54? None of them dudes gonna get you up. If you truly beat Canelo, why not be the greatest fighter in the existence of boxing? Like, Bivol was the only dude to beat 2 undisputed active champions. Like, he beat Canelo as an undisputed champion, and he beat Better Beef as an undisputed champion. Bivol historically might go down as one of the greatest to ever do it. If you beat Bivol and you beat Canelo, Crawford might have surpassed TBE.
This isn't just a case of two fighters talking past each other. It sparked a full-blown debate that's dividing fans, fighters, and analysts alike. Even current boxers like Ryan Garcia have entered the conversation, adding fuel to the fire. Known for speaking his mind, Garcia didn't hold back during a recent segment on Ring Magazine's Inside the Ring. When former NFL star LaShawn McCoy praised Mayweather, saying no one had changed the game like him, Garcia quickly cut in a bad way. Garcia argued that while Mayweather mastered the sport inside the ring, he also mastered the business side, particularly the timing of fights. He accused Floyd of picking his opponents strategically, often waiting until big names like Pacquiao or Cotto were past their prime. He never fought anybody really in their prime, not after junior lightweight, Garcia claimed, suggesting that Mayweather's undefeated record had more to do with perfect matchmaking than perfect fighting. For Garcia, that's where the sport began to change, and not for the better. He believes Mayweather's influence led future fighters to prioritize protecting their undefeated records over taking on the most dangerous matchups.